Today, we will discuss on the same topic. That one is spoilage and microbial contamination from Unit 5. Now, biological spoilage. How through the biological activity the spoilage of the formulation in industry does. In this first point is some bacteria present in pharmaceutical formulation utilizes various compounds present in that formulation to perform their metabolic activities. Means some bacteria which are comes in contamination of pharmaceutical formulation, and that bacteria for their growth utilize API, means the pharmaceutical active ingredient or the other compound which are present in the formulation to perform their metabolic activities. Okay, through that they can grow, multiply. Due to this, produce certain chemicals which they release in preparation. Because of this type of metabolic activities, bacteria release certain chemicals in the formulation. This process is called, or this type of spoilage comes under the biological spoilage. Means because of metabolic activities of bacteria in pharmaceutical formulation, due to that activities they release certain types of chemical. Because of this chemical the formulation spoil. This called as biological spoilage of the pharmaceutical formulation. Two types of chemicals released by microorganism, means through the metabolic activities of microorganisms they release two types of chemical. In this first one is microbial toxin. Microorganism produce toxic molecules. Toxic molecules means that toxic molecule is not toxic for microorganism, but it's toxic for the human beings who consume that formulation which are prepared in pharmaceutical industry or laboratory. Okay, microorganism produce toxic molecules, and that toxic molecules is very toxic to users. Then microbial metabolites produce various metabolites which cause product spoilage. Because of these metabolites are toxic to human beings. First one is they produce toxic molecules through their metabolic activities, and other they produce the toxic metabolites, and both are responsible for the spoilage of pharmaceutical formulation. And these both toxic molecules or metabolites are very toxic to human beings. As for example, different types of amines or organic compound metabolites produced by fungi or molds. The example of these metabolites is different types of amines and the organic compounds, metabolites. They produced by the fungi and the mold if they comes in contaminate of the formulation. Okay, and that formulation is consumed by user, then there is the 100% chances of toxic results of that formulation on that particular human beings who use this formulation. Now, the factor affecting microbial spoilage. Which type of factors affecting the microbial spoilage? In this first one is size of contaminant inoculum, means the microorganism cell comes in contact of formulation in how much quantity. means the size of contaminant inoculum. If low level of contaminants present in a product cause low rates of deterioration. If there is level of contaminants means the microorganism is low. Okay, if there is the presence of very less amount of microorganism in the formulation means low rates of deterioration. The formulation deteriorates very slowly. But if there is the high level of contaminants, they cause appreciable microbial contaminants. Means there is the high amount of microorganism contact or the present in the formulation means there is very high rate of deterioration of that formulation. A very low level of pseudomonas in a weakly preserved solution may suggest a greater risk than tablet containing high number of fungal and bacterial spores. Means there is, if in any formulation that preserved weakly, ठीक है, weakly preserved means the amount of preservative there is not the combination of preservative is used but only the single preservative used. Okay, and this preservative is not sufficient to kill the microorganism. Okay, after that if there is the presence of low level of pseudomonas means the solution affected by very small amount of pseudomonas microorganism, then it also causes very greater risk than the tablet. There is the comparison between the solution and the tablet. Then tablet containing the higher number of fungal and bacterial spore. Okay, if there is the presence of high level of fungal or bacterial spore in tablet. Now, nutritional factors. What type of nutrition microorganisms get from pharmaceutical formulation? Most of organic and inorganic ingredients act as potential carbon or nitrogen substrate to microbial growth. All of you know what type of culture, what type of medium is required for the microbial growth or for the microorganism growth. Means the microorganism for their growth required carbon and nitrogen, and this carbon and nitrogen is present in formulation if they contain organic and inorganic ingredients. Okay, then the complexity of many formulation, offers considerable nutritional variety for a wide range of microorganisms. Complexity means the composition, different types of composition, different types of chemical compounds which are present in formulation. They provide nutritional value for the wide range of microorganisms. Okay, this all comes under the nutritional factor. The use of crude vegetable or animal products in a formulation provides an additional nutritional environment. Okay, if there is the presence of means if there is the use of in particular formulation, if there is used crude vegetables or animal product in the formulation, these both are also very nutritional, okay, for the bacteria for their growth. Means they provide nutritious environment to the bacteria for their growth if any formulation contain crude vegetables or animal products. Then demineralized water prepared by good ion exchange methods. जो demineralized waters है that are prepared by Good ion exchange method will normally contain sufficient nutrients to allow significant growth of many waterborne gram-negative bacteria such as Pseudomonas. Okay, there is if demineralized water, okay, it also contains sufficient nutrients for the growth of many waterborne gram-negative bacteria as far as the Pseudomonas. Now, moisture contained water activity. Moisture contained water activity. In this, microorganism required water, okay, in appreciable quantity for the growth. Then most microorganisms grow best at higher water activity. Higher water activity means in the presence of the moisture. Water is very essential for the growth of microorganism, and if there is the higher water activity, higher amount of water, higher amount of moisture is present, that moisture water utilized by different types of microorganism for their growth and spoil the formulation. Hence, formulation can be protected from microbial attack by lowering their water activity, so that the water activity is lowering. Okay, so that the water activity is lowered in the formulation by using different types of chemical ingredients. Okay, as for example, by adding sugars, by adding polythene glycols or sodium chloride, or by drying the material. Drying the material means to dry the moisture which is present in the formulation. Okay, this is the water activity, one of the factor which is responsible for the microbial spoilage of the formulation. Then second factor is pH. pH. How this pH is affects for the formulation. If the pH is not maintained in the formulation, what is the role to maintain the pH of the formulation? In this first point, extremes of pH prevent microbial attacks. Okay, for the maintenance of pH in the formulation, the reason back of this to prevent the microbial attack. How? Around neutrality. Neutrality means 7.4. Bacterial spoilage is more likely with reports of Pseudomonas. Around neutrality means at the neutral pH. Bacterial spoilage means the formulation of spoilage by the microorganism is also reported with the Pseudomonas. Above pH 8 means alkaline pH. As for example, with soap-based emulsion. In the soap-based emulsion, spoilage is very rare. In product with low pH level, as for example, fruit juice, flavored syrup, mold or yeast, attack is more likely. Okay, if fruit juice, syrup, fruit juice which are available in the market, if there is the low pH of that fruit juice, means they mostly attack by the mold yeast. Yeast can metabolize organic acids and raise the pH to a level where secondary bacterial growth can occur. Okay, yeast can metabolize organic acids. To organic acid, that one is present in the formulation. They can be used by yeast for their metabolic activities and raise the pH of the formulation to that level where secondary bacterial growth can occur. Spoilage, temperature. Next factor is temperature, how temperature affects. In this first point, spoilage of pharmaceutical could occur potentially over the range of above 20 to 60 degrees Celsius temperature. The formulation means the spoilage of pharmaceutical formulation occurs when the temperature range is in between 20 to 60 degrees Celsius temperature. Okay, ये temperature से ऊपर upper than this temperature, the spoilage of the pharmaceutical formulation occurs. The particular storage temperature may selectively determine the types of microorganisms involved in the spoilage. And the particular storage temperature, there in mostly formulation there is the label or the indication, please store this formulation at 4 degrees Celsius temperature. Why? Because below this or above this, there is the chances of microbial attack on that particular formulation. Okay, so that temperature play very vital role to prevent the formulation from the microbial spoilage. So that always there is the selective temperature in which the formulation is stored, mentioned on the label of different types of formulation. If this temperature is directly affect on the spoilage of the formulation or responsible for the spoilage of formulation. Then deep freeze at minus 20 degrees Celsius or lower than this required for long-term storage of some pharmaceutical product. If some pharmaceutical product stored at deep freeze means minus 20 degrees Celsius temperature, means they can be able to protect from the microbial attack for longer period of duration. Means this type of formulation below minus 20 degrees Celsius temperature can be able to survive for years. Okay. Then second point, reconstituted syrups and multi-dose eye drops packs are sometimes dispensed with the instruction to store in a cool place. Okay, multi-dose eye drops. Multi-dose eye drops means eye drops, ठीक है, आई ड्रॉप्स ले लीजिए, उसको ओपन अप करने के बाद a human beings used this eye drop for a month, means there is the multiple doses to use these eye drops. Okay, and that type of multi-dose eye drops and reconstituted syrup at the time of use, the syrup is prepared. This type of syrup contain label or contain instruction on the label to store in a cool place. Why? Because to prevent them from the microbial attack, to prevent them from the spoilage of formulation. Okay, if there is the multi-dose eye drop and they comes directly in contact of the environment, the environmental microorganisms comes in contact of the eye drops and they can be able to harm to human beings eye. Okay, now the next point, water for injection should be held at 80 degrees Celsius temperature. The water for injection that is prepared should be held at 80 degrees Celsius temperature or above after distillation and before packing and sterilization to prevent possible regrowth of microorganisms. Okay, the water for injection means the water which is mostly prepared for the injection formulation. And this water for injection is stored at a 80 degrees Celsius temperature. But when they are used, they again sterilized okay, and distillate just to prevent the possible regrowth of microorganism, okay, to avoid any types of contaminants of the microorganism. Why? Because injection directly comes into the blood system, and if there is the presence of any microorganism, any small molecules, any toxic materials that is released by that particular microorganism in the injection, they will immediately infect the human beings or the users which are using that particular injection or the pharmaceutical formulation. Okay, now the ability of microbes to grow in an environment is influenced by its oxidation reduction balance. The ability of microbes, okay, जो ability है microbes की, who grow in an environment में who is growing is influenced by its oxidation reduction balance. This redox potential is also responsible as they require compatible terminal electron acceptor to permit the respiratory pathway to function. And that microorganism, okay, they require compatible terminal electron acceptor. They require the acceptor, electron acceptor, who accepts the electron for permit their respiratory pathway, okay, for the respiration purpose of the microorganism, so that oxidation reduction balance is also influenced by the environment for the growth of microorganism. Then packaging design, how the packaging of particular container, particular formulation affects, okay, for the spoilage of formulation or to prevent the microbial attack. In this first point, packaging design have a major influence on microbial stability of some formulation. Packaging design means for the container have the major influence. Influence means effect on microbial stability, means to prevent the attack from the microbes. The microbes doesn't comes in contact of formulation. Design the container in such a way, because of this reason, okay, design the container in such a way that it prevent the ingress of contaminants into medicine for parenteral administration. Okay, to design the container in such a way, design the container in such a way that it can able to prevent the entry of microorganism into the formulation. If the formulation is mainly used for parenteral purpose, or the formulation which are administered in the body through the parenteral route, okay, for parenteral preparation owing to the high risk of infection by this route. Why this type of protection? Okay, for the design of the container, the reason back of this, there is the high chances of infection by this route, because this parenteral preparation directly comes in contact with the bloodstream of the user. If there is the presence of any microorganism, okay, they cause high infection to the user if they are using parenteral route to intake the formulation. Now, self-sealing rubber wad must be used in multi-dose injection container to prevent the entry of microorganism. Okay, self-sealing रबर वैड यानी कि रबर से बना हुआ सेल्फ सीलिंग उसका कवर, देखा होगा आपने, छोटे जो इंजेक्शन के वायल्स आते हैं, इंजेक्शन की छोटी बॉटल आती है, उनके अंदर सेल्फ सीलिंग रबर कॉक लगे हुए होते हैं, जिसके अंदर डायरेक्टली उसको खोला नहीं जाता है, नीडल को डायरेक्टली इंसर्ट करके इंजेक्शन के कंटेनर को नीडल में सक किया जाता है. After that they are using. Why this type of process? Just to prevent the entry of microorganism. Microorganism की entry को prevent करने के लिए. Then cardboard packaging and labels themselves can become responsible for microbial attack under human condition. If instead of this self-sealing rubber band, if there is the use of cardboard packaging means if there is the use of other materials, okay, maybe they can be responsible for the entry of microorganisms, but this all self-sealing rubber band vials, okay, बहुत सारे वायर्स एक साथ में फिक्स्ड इन अ कार्डबोर्ड पैकेजिंग, ओके, कार्डबोर्ड पैकेजिंग में फिक्स कर दिए जाते हैं. एंड label themselves can become responsible for microbial attack under humid condition. If any circumstances, any environment, any chance they create this cardboard, ये cardboard आपका क्या हो जाए, cardboard packaging comes in contact of water, okay, water के contact में आ गया, they absorb the moisture, उसने moisture को absorb कर लिया, then they are responsible for microbial attack, okay. Preservatives are also used to reduce the risk of damage so that certain types of either it's a single or the combination of different types of preservatives. Preservatives means a chemical agent who check out the growth of microorganism in the formulation. They also use in the formulation just to reduce the risk of damage. Damage means the risk of microbial attack, okay, and the spoilage of the formulation through the microbial attack, microbial contaminants. Now, the source of contaminants. Which type of source is responsible for the microbial attack? In this, first one is personal. Personal means the person who manufactures, who supervising, who involved in the packaging of the formulation. Personal, okay, person. Then second is poor facility design. Poor facility design means the designs of manufacturing unit, production unit, aseptic areas is very poor. Incoming ventilation air, machinery and other equipments which are used for the formulation purpose, okay, which are used in the manufacturing of the formulation, they are also responsible. They are also the source of contaminants. Then material, either it's a raw material and the semi-finished material, packaging material. Okay, these all types of material is also very vital source of the contaminants of microorganism for the formulation. Then process, different media used in the production process as well as cleaning clothes, okay, different types of media which are used in the production process and different types of materials which are used for cleaning the floors, cleaning the equipment, cleaning the glass vials, glass beers, and cleaning the cloth also. They also the better source of the contaminants. Then utilities like water and gases which are utilized for the formulation purpose. In this first one is personal. How this personal is the vital source of contaminants of different type of microorganism which are present in the environment and contaminate the formulation. Okay, in this first point, personnel who are supervising. The person who are supervising the formulation involved in manufacturing, other person who are involved in manufacturing, or control, is to control the quality of formulation. The person is also involved in quality control department, quality assurance department, packaging department can be the potential source of microbial contamination. Okay, they all persons are the potential source of microbial contamination, and they are a particular vector for other contaminants also. The reason for contaminants. What is the reason back of contaminants through the person? First one is lack of training. If the person are not properly trained to manufacture, to supervise, to control the quality of the formulation, then there is the chances of microbial contamination in the formulation. Second, direct contact between operator's hand and materials. Okay, operator's hand, if operators doesn't wear any gloves on hands, means the operator's hands directly comes in contact of the API or the bulk or the other additives which are used for the formulation. Then inadequate personal cleanliness. A person is not well clean. If there is certain type of disease present, epidermal, okay, dermatitis, then they also the source of contaminants, bacterial contaminants in the formulation. They are also very important source. Next, the access of unauthorized personnel into production. Unauthorized means the person who is not authorized, who is not responsible, who is not properly trained. They comes in contact of production. Okay, means there is the directly contact of material with untrained person. In case of storage also, in case of production control areas also, they are also responsible source of contaminant for the formulation. Inadequate gowning and personal protectives. If the person is not wear gown and other protective wears, malpractice, if person is eating food, drinking beverages, or using tobacco in the manufacturing areas, storage area, processing area, quality control area, quality assurance area, and the packaging area, then they also create the source of contaminants for the microorganism. Now, next one is source of contaminants is building and facility. Building and facility. How the building infrastructures and their facilities is also responsible for the bacterial contaminants in the formulation for the spoilage of the formulation. The building and manufacturing facilities, they also contribute to the contamination. They also play a vital role for the contamination of the formulation, and the main reason of contamination due to facility issues. The reason back of contamination due to facility issues in this first one is inadequate filth and pest control. Okay, inadequate filth and pest control facilities. Then rough floors, walls and ceiling. If there is rough floors and walls of the ceiling, means there is the 100% chances of uh, collection of dust, okay, in rough floor. And the dust soil also contain some different types of microorganisms. And if this dust comes directly in contact of the material that are used for formulation purpose, means microorganism directly comes into the contact of the material. Then lack of air filtration system. If there is lack of air filtration system, then there is the chances of bacteria comes and enter into the manufacturing units environment in which the formulation is prepared. Then improper lighting and ventilation. Improper lighting and ventilation. Then poorly located vents and drains. Okay, no arrangement for the vents and drains. Then they also affect, or they also the very most common source of contaminants, inadequate washing, cleaning, toilet, and locker facility to allow for sanitary operation. Then cleaning facilities, equipment and utensil, and personal cleanliness. They can also affect